So why doesn't Eric Holder announce the Zimmerman case is closed? The answer is obvious, and the same sick storyline may play out in Ferguson. When the mob thinks Obama's on the mob's side, the mob will be on the side of Obama. This is a president schooled in the art of flexing left-wing mob muscle. For decades, mobs have been useful to Obama's cause of fundamental transformation. Here we go. Consider a 1988 mob in Chicago. Obama, according to Stanley Kurtz in his book Radical in Chief, was deeply involved in a group called UNO, U-N-O, that, quote, favored civil disobedience and tactics that went to extremes, unquote. In a demonstration that Obama helped plan, a mob of 100 activists burst into a private boardroom where bank officials were discussing plans to develop a landfill with Waste Management Corporation. Obama and his UNO gang delivered their message of opposition and intimidation. When Eric Holder was a student at Columbia, Holder helped a mob take over the Navy ROTC office until the demand was met that it be renamed the Malcolm X Lounge. Michelle Obama, dressed all in black, helped a mob take over the dean's office at Harvard Law School to demand that the administration hire professors on the basis of race. Oh, you didn't know all this. Mobs to these people are sometimes seen as partners, not threats. So on cue, these so-called civil rights groups like the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights sent out press releases blaming the police, not the rioters. Barbara Arnwine, like Holder, blames the police. Here's what she said. The decision not to indict raises serious questions about how communities of color nationwide are treated by our criminal justice system. We call upon elected officials and law enforcement to raise serious questions about how communities of color nationwide are treated by our criminal justice system. We call upon elected officials and law enforcement to establish policies and procedures that will put an end to bias against people of color. Police brutality, especially against minority communities, is a national crisis and requires a national response. Is that what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, ladies and gentlemen? Or was it a cop firing in self-defense? I said, as soon as this broke out, and as soon as I heard Holder, they're seeking to nationalize our local and state police agencies. They want to take them over. Like good little dictators. More of the fundamental transformation, if you will. I want to remind you, after the break, of who Eric Holder is further. The incendiary and provocative and controversial statements he's been making about race the day he walked into office. The fact of the matter is, he can put a suit on the man and a tie on the man, but he'd much rather be in the streets with the rabble-rousers. But he's got much more power in the Attorney General's office. So he won't put on camouflage. He won't put on the masks of the rioters. He'll just prod them along and help give them cover. Pretending out of one side of his mouth to denounce it, while out of the other side of his mouth, he excuses it. I'll be right back.